feel like I want to pull you guys this way, so I'll just, you're okay. You're good. Okay. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about sleep. So I wanted to, before I talk about a little bit about my dreams, I wanted to give us a different understanding of sleeping and of our dreams. So when we think about going to bed and going to sleep, we generally think about resting our bodies because we're not doing physical activity, and we think about resting our minds so we don't have to think about the troubles of the day or make decisions or make choices. And so we rest or we sleep for rejuvenation and just for some quiet and relaxation. Now, what happens is when we sleep, we all know pretty much that we dream, although some of us don't remember our dreams, some of us might say that we don't dream. But actually, I wanted to present this idea about sleep and something that's happening that you may not actually be aware that's happening. Every single night when we sleep, we are letting our awareness move from the earthly realm to the spiritual realm. So in essence, what we're doing is we're taking a break from our concentration of a dense earthly form and our thinking and our beliefs and our emotions, and we're allowing ourselves to, in essence, fly, or in essence, soar or drift into an awareness where we meet our guides, our angels, our spirit, anything that you'd like to call it, our God consciousness, to connect to the soul and connect to what it is that we know deep in our heart, to feel the energies of this awareness or this state of consciousness. So I like to think about it as, you've heard this analogy if you've heard me talk before about like a hot air balloon. So let's say before you go to sleep, you're in a meadow, you're very aware of the earth, you're very aware of your surroundings, you're aware of the people around you and what you need to do that day and what you're thinking about and what you're worrying about. And going to sleep is like getting into the hot air balloon, into the basket, and all the sandbags, the things that keep you weighted down into this reality, are lifted. All the defenses that we have, all the thoughts, the emotions, everything that is the sandbags that keep us weighted, they're automatically go to sleep. And as they go to sleep, you're in the basket and the hot air balloon starts to lift. And as it lifts up, you become more expanded. Your awareness becomes expanded. You start to see things that you never saw before. You see more trees, you see more land. And as you go higher and higher and higher, you start to see beyond that even. You start to see rivers and you start to see oceans. And then you go higher and higher and higher. Let's say the hot air balloon could be like a spaceship, and it could go as high past the universe, and you see the planets and you see the stars. So you are still you. It's just that your awareness went from the ground level up into the galaxies. So it's as if you're expanding your awareness of everything. And so when we think about sleep, in essence, what we're doing is we're temporarily letting go of the sandbags. We're letting go of our thoughts and our emotions and our beliefs, and we're lifting and lifting into our sleep state and connecting with this spiritual realm. So most of us don't know this. Most of us are not aware of what is actually going on. And this is understandable even in our daily life. We aren't aware of 3/4 of what's going on. We just concentrate on a little sliver of life, and through our judgments and our filters and our ideas, our own emotions and even our physical proximity, we just have a little dot of awareness. So imagine that we want to connect to the spiritual realm And when we do that, if we're not conscious of it, like we don't have a conscious awareness of what we're learning, what is changing, what advice we're getting, what awarenesses we're getting about our purpose, our next step, where we're troubled, what our problems are. If we don't have a conscious awareness of that, we wake up and we might feel a little refreshed, or an idea may come to us and we're like, where did that come from? But the conscious awareness of what is going on in our unconscious is when we can start making a choice. So when you become consciously aware of what is happening in your dream world, whether it's your dream in the ego unconscious or your dream in the spiritual unconscious, you can then use that information consciously. You can take it into your life and you can start making aware choices that actually will change your life. So when you think about, what I love this idea about dreams is when you're aware of going into a soul or a spiritual unconscious or consciousness or God consciousness, these types of understandings are beyond our limited mind. They are beyond our ability we can't put words to it. We can't comprehend in our limited egoic mind. So why dreams are such a cool way to become conscious of what we're learning in our sleep state is that knowledge at that level, which is a very high level of consciousness, is translated through images, symbols, things that you can then start to comprehend. So think about it if you were in a foreign country and you didn't know the language, but you really wanted to communicate with people there, you would need a translator. You would need something to translate into something you understand. And that's what dreams and visions do for us. They give us the information in a way that uses our language and the things that we understand and gets the message through. So when we think about spiritual dreaming, what I call spiritual dreaming, it's as if you're given this, you want to connect to your soul, you want to connect to spiritual consciousness, but you need a language in which you can understand what it is that they're saying so you can then transfer it. And dreams are such a beautiful way for that to happen. When I started spiritual dreaming, it was so I could explain it in this way of, let's say I'm standing on a stage, and there's lots of backdrops, different scenes on a stage, and then behind the backdrop is a lot of the workings and the ropes and things like that. So if I'm standing on the stage, all these backdrops, which I'll call veils, really hide what is standing on the stage with me. So the veils, what happened for me and what happens for me is it's as if when I go to sleep, the veils drop. And when they all drop, you can make that clear connection to what is going on behind the curtain. Sometimes what will happen is we'll dream, but let's say that veil is really thick and it has a scene of darkness on it. So when you dream, you'll connect to that backdrop. And so you'll have a dream experience of that backdrop because that veil hasn't been dropped yet. So spiritual dreaming is as if, let's say you have all the ego unconscious and all the backdrops and all the stories and all the beliefs and all of the things that we hold within our mind, memories and things like that. And let's say spiritual dreaming is you fall asleep and you bypass all of that to get behind the veil so you can experience and know what it is the Spirit is trying to communicate to you. Make sense? Yeah. So what we gain from spiritual wisdom when we do that is what I've experienced, and there's so many things, but I just wrote a few things down. The power to turn our life in different directions. So you're going this way, you have information that comes to you, and you go, oh, I need to go that way. You just know, because wisdom is constantly, guiding you through these dreams. They can also bring what I would say miraculous changes to your experience. So you can have healing in these spiritual dreams, and then wake up and not have any residuals or anything left of what that was bothering you before. And it's just gone. It's just completely healed. The other thing I've experienced is what I would say lifetimes of unconscious patterns. Things that we do over and over and over again. And every time we encounter it again, we get a chance to make another choice. We don't know the information, and so we make the wrong choice again, and there we find ourselves in the same spot. A spiritual dream, I've had spiritual dreams where I get to see my unconscious pattern. I get to see how often in the past I have lived this pattern out, and then I'm given the answer, like, next time this happens, do this. It can be very specific. And so you wake up in your life and you're like, oh, okay, this is happening just like it said it was going to happen. Now, what was I supposed to do? And then you remember, you do it, and before you know it, your patterns are they're just dissolving. So the most, though, important thing that a spiritual dream does, in my opinion, is it connects us to what I call home. It gives us this instant connection to that divine love, that divine wisdom, and that power, really, and strength. Now, normally we consider a lot of our spiritual practices do that. Meditation does that. I'm a Course in Miracles student, so workbook lessons do that. Studying text does that. But what I find with spiritual dreaming is it's such a quick way to bypass a lot of the defenses that we have when we're awake. And it's almost an easy access. It's almost as if you're driving down a road and there's construction and there's obstacles and you want to get to that point, and usually because there's so much construction and obstacles, you got to go to this detour, then you go to that detour. Eventually you get there, but it takes you a lot of effort to do that. Whereas in dreaming, you go to sleep and it's like all those obstacles are just taken right off of the road and you're just right there. And so we're all trying to gain that spiritual wisdom and that spiritual connection in understanding, for guidance, for insights, for healed perceptions. And so I have just found that dreaming is, I like it quick and I like it easy. So that's give me the easy way. So anyway, that's a little bit of a background about that before I go in and share my dreams. So I just wanted to share that with you. So.